and welcome to today's graphic design tip of the day. For today's tip, we're going to take a look at logo design in more detail, what you should be thinking about as a designer as you're creating one or helping a company decide how to create one, as well as those of you who have companies who are considering have a logo made, to what you should be considering with your logo itself. So let's take a step forward and look at the different types of logos. The types of logos, major types, are going to be your pictorial or symbol. So you can see these are just abstract designs that don't use any words. We have our Twitter, Target, and Apple as examples here. We have our word mark, so that is going to be just a very specific stylized font for your company, writing out the name of your company. The next one is your lettermark. So that is an abbreviated version of your name of your company. So just the letters that would spell it out and potentially a symbol. So you can see Cartoon Network and KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. And our last type here of our major types is a combination mark, where it's going to combine both a symbol and a word mark. Examples of Domino's Pizza as well as Starbucks Coffee. So when should you use each type of logo? Let's look specifically at a symbol logo. This would be something that you want to wait a while for your company to build to become this iconic symbol. So if you're looking for maybe a startup company, something that's happening right now that you need somebody to understand what it is, it might not be your best bet. But if you do have something that's going to be a growing company over time, this would be a good option. It's also something you can add in, of course, as an addition to your major logo that you have for your company. It should be well recognized as a symbol. And then another thing to remember is that you should have a substantial marketing budget if you're going to use this type of logo, because you will need to educate people on what this actually means for your company. The next one, our wordmark logo. You should have a short, distinctive business name. It's really important. Otherwise, this isn't going to work really well. If your name is really long, it's not going to look right. And especially if you were to shrink this down to like a business card, something smaller, you wouldn't want it unreadable because you have so much text included on it. If you're planning on using your logo across many different types of media, this is a really good option for you. And then, of course, if you want to use bright and distinctive colors, this would be a great option because it'll really make your logo stand out. So those are wordmark logos, some examples down here below. When to use a lettermark logo, if the company's name is a mouthful, something that you want to shorten down and make easier for the person to identify. You can see these are all abbreviations. Sometimes they include somewhat of a symbol included with it, but usually just those abbreviated letters that represent your company. And it's also nice if the monogram of the letters spells out a relevant word to your company, something that's meaningful. And our last one, the combination mark logo. If your company has a storyline that you want to advertise, something that you definitely want a graphic involved with, this is really nice. It's also great for, like I was talking about before, a startup company, something that somebody wouldn't necessarily identify your logo right away. It's going to tell them so much more than something that's a little bit more simple. So this is visually strong, and it really explains more about your company by having both the text as well as some sort of graphic going along with it. And companies often have multiple logos. You can see my example of Google, Starbucks, and Disney. All of these are used in different capacities. So if you did want something as small as a business card, something as big as a print on a product or on the web, right? It might change a little bit as long as it's something that is going to flow really well together. Google actually uses so many varieties of their logo. They have the Doodle for Google competition that designers enter each year that will represent each of the letters of Google with some sort of image that they draw, but it's still Google. So it's, really easy to understand and recognize any type of variation of their symbol. Starbucks uses the simple logo as well as some text, and Disney variations as well. So what does every good logo have? This is important to think about. Great logos are always recognizable. So if somebody can look at your logo and then 20 minutes later draw just a rough example of what it is or explain what it looked like, you did a really nice job. It should be long lasting. It should provide an immediate sense of what your company is about, which definitely easy when you have a graphic involved in it as well. You should choose color with purpose. If you are looking at your competitors, try to avoid using the colors that they used in their logo just so that yours stands out above theirs, but also think about why they did it. What kind of meanings go along with those colors as you're choosing them? There's so many websites that'll tell you specific meanings of each color so you can get an idea of what yours is going to kind of reflect in your design. And then finally, fonts are just as important as your color choices because they do also show the emotion of the style that they're representing in your design. So different fonts are going to work best for different businesses. Great websites like defont.com, FontSpace are going to have a lot of free fonts that you can download. So let's talk about money. One thing that I constantly see is people underselling their product, which makes it look a little bit cheap. It makes you wonder how much experience they actually have. If you didn't know, professional design firms typically charge between $4,000 to $15,000 per logo. If you are going to hire a freelance designer, typically it's going to be between $35 to $150 per hour, depending on that level of experience. So if somebody's charging a couple dollars per logo as a business, you're going to have to wonder if their logos are going to be that top-notch quality, if they're putting in the time and the research to really help you build your company. So some of the mistakes that you see designers making or businesses making is hiring somebody that doesn't put in enough research. You don't want your logo to be too similar to a company that already exists, or that's going to be confusing for your customers. And then also beginning designers often try to put way too much into their logos. If you have too much going on and the logo is becoming way too complicated, it's not going to stand out. It's not going to work well on a business card. If it's too complex, it doesn't get the job done. Simplifying it and making it more concise is definitely something that a more advanced designer will do. So I hope that you learned a little bit about creating logos today, things that you should think about as a designer as well as a business. And I hope you enjoyed today's graphic design tip of the day.